Welcome, everyone, to our Soul of the Nation Saturday event. 1 year ago today, my dad, Vice President Biden, launched his campaign for president to restore and heal the soul of this nation. Over the last year, we have seen such incredible generosity, kindness, and courage from people all across the country. And tonight, we're celebrating the 1 year anniversary by celebrating you and paying it forward. While we're coming to you from the safety of our homes, there are so many Americans who are putting their own health on the line to make sure that we have the care, the food, and the essentials that we need to stay safe. To every nurse, doctor, healthcare worker, law enforcement officer, grocery store worker, delivery driver, and everyone on the front lines of the COVID-19 battle, we want to extend a heartfelt thank you. You are our heroes. We have an amazing program for you tonight. You'll hear from heroes saving lives from COVID-19. We'll look back at some of our favorite moments from the campaign over the last year. We'll premiere a brand new music video from musical guest Billy Porter. And you'll hear from my two favorite people, Mom and Dad, Dr. Jill Biden and Vice President Biden, about how our battle to restore and heal the soul of the nation will continue through November. Again, thank you all from the bottom of our hearts. Stay safe, stay well, and be kind to one another. We are our brother's keeper. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our frontline workers and first responders who are out there every day.
All of the healthcare professionals and those who work in hospitals to keep it clean.
Thank you so much to our health heroes who rushed in there and put their lives on the line to help make our world a safer and better place.
Thank you so much for everything that you do for our community, for keeping us safe, for keeping us strong.
We couldn't get through this crisis without you. So thank you.
Men and women who are working on our docks and in our grocery stores, driving the trucks, and who are doing the work in our warehouses.
Firefighters, grocery store clerks, sanitation workers, and so many more.
The folks in the healthcare field, our doctors, nurses, orderlies, paramedics, all those who are taking care of us today.
I want to say thank you to our nation's heroes who are on the front lines fighting the coronavirus every day.
Laundry services, custodial services, food services.
All the trash collectors, postal service people, small business owners.
Healthcare workers, doctors, nurses.
We appreciate you and what you're doing to keep us safe.
Go to joebiden.com/Soul Saturday for more information on how to get involved.
Thank you to all for joining us in these tough times to shine the light on the true heroes who every day breathe life into the soul of our nation. There's a saying, crises don't make heroes, they just unveil them to our eyes. And that has never been more true. These dark times have shown new light on the brave guardians who live on our front lines. The doctors and nurses fighting around the clock to beat the onslaught of an unfamiliar disease. The police, firemen, and first responders who run towards danger to lift others to safety. The grocery store clerks and mail carriers, sanitation and transit workers, whom too many have taken for granted for too long. They never signed up to risk their lives for you and me, but that's exactly what they're doing with honor and courage. And then there are the millions of everyday Americans, neighbors helping neighbors, an outpouring of volunteers, ordinary people who are finding a strength and spirit within themselves that shines through even in the darkest night. In a time of such cynicism and fear, it's the most inspiring wave of light. Leaders across this country have so much to learn from these heroes, and we owe it to them to have their backs in this fight. When I first joined Joe Biden's team last year, that's part of what drew me to him. Joe Biden has always fought for those millions of people ready to serve something bigger than themselves. Joe Biden has been through tough times in life and knows how to persevere and find purpose. That's what he'll do as president. Call forth our goodness and honor those millions of selfless acts of courage with a kind of steady, truthful leadership that this nation and these heroes so deserve. I want to introduce one of those heroes to you now. From my hometown of Atlanta, Jasmine Crowe. For 3 years, Jasmine cut coupons and cooked Sunday dinner for 500 people from her one-bedroom apartment, and then delivered it to the homeless and to the seniors. Then she founded a company to take surplus food from stores and restaurants to nonprofits fighting hunger. Now she's working around the clock to deliver groceries to homebound families in need, families who've lost their paychecks, who can't leave their homes, who are balancing fear of this deadly virus with the terror of not being able to provide for their children. In Joe Biden's America, in our America, we will have her back, and together we will have the backs of everyone in need.
It's an honor to be with you, Mayor Bottoms, and I just want to take a moment to thank you for your fearless leadership of the city of Atlanta. It's been so inspiring to watch you lead, and I'm excited to be with so many inspiring people from around the country today. The idea of Soul Saturday means a lot to me. As Mayor Bottoms said, I started an initiative called Sunday Soul in 2013 in the city of Atlanta. And it started just driving through downtown and seeing hundreds of people that were experiencing homelessness and believing that even though I didn't have a lot, I could still make a difference. And so that first meal that I made was just a spaghetti dinner. I fed about 125 people, and I continued to go back and do that every 2 weeks until I was feeding almost 500 people on a bi-weekly basis. And so it proved to me that I could start small and impact a really great amount of people. That initiative led me to start Gooder, which today has recovered nearly 3 million pounds of surplus food that would have otherwise ended up in landfill in a country where so many people go hungry. Today, our company feeds thousands of people across 7 cities, including many who have recently lost their jobs and been cut off from their day-to-day lives in communities across the country affected by COVID-19. We are facing food shortages that we've never seen before. And for many, this is the first time that they've experienced hunger in their lifetime. For those families, home is a hard place to be right now. There are empty refrigerators, there are heavy minds, and lots of worry. We literally could see thousands of people starving in the richest country in the world. That's a product of this crisis and of the structural issue of hunger in this country, where last year, nearly 40 million people experienced food insecurity, even as 72 billion pounds of perfectly good food was thrown out. Hunger is not an issue of scarcity. It's a matter of logistics. But every one of us has the power to make a difference, and I believe that I'm proof of that. We all can tackle problems, even the toughest problems in the toughest times, to make our communities better. Dr. King, in his final speech to striking sanitation workers in Memphis, reminded us all of the parable of the Good Samaritan. He asked us to change the questions we often ask ourselves when faced with suffering. It's not, if I stop to help this man, what will happen to me? It's, if I do not stop to help this man, what will happen to him? That's our credo in our community and in the soul of this nation. That's who we are as a country. We're all going to keep living by that until elected President Joe Biden, who does the same.
Thank you, Jasmine. You represent the best in all of us. And I know that you agree that's what Joe Biden does as well. We are so grateful in this city and across this country to have you standing in the gap for those in need. You are the soul of our nation. And that's why it's been so great to partner with you in the city of Atlanta. But I look forward to the day when Joe Biden can stand with you and partner with you as the President of the United States.
We're facing a crisis unlike any we've ever faced in this nation's history. We're being challenged, tested, pushed to our limits. And I couldn't be prouder of the American people and how they're responding. We're coming together, stepping up, You can see it all across the nation. Ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things. It's the story of America. Nowhere is it more true than on the front lines of this crisis. The doctors, the nurses, healthcare workers, first responders, firefighters, cops, caring for others more than themselves, doing their job in the most difficult of circumstances, putting their lives on the line every day, often without the protective equipment they need and deserve. And still they don't stop. This is a war, and these are our soldiers. As president, I wouldn't send an American soldier anywhere in the world without the equipment and protection they need. We should not do any less for the heroes on the front lines in this battle we're in now. We need to support them, pray for them, and when this crisis is over, never forget what they have done. I've talked about the soul of this nation. We're seeing it. We're seeing it on display in this crisis. Courage, bravery, a belief that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves. This crisis isn't going to defeat America. Not today, tomorrow, or ever. This is the United States of America, and there's nothing we can't do if we do it together. The American people have never, ever, ever, ever let their country down. We just got to give them all they need now. American history is not a fairy tale. Thomas Jefferson wrote what many believe to be the most important document in human history. He was a slaveholder. We've never lived up to our American ideals. Jefferson himself didn't. But what he wrote has pulled us towards justice for more than 2 centuries. It's always a fight, and it's a battle that is never fully finished. But if Donald Trump is reelected, he will forever and fundamentally alter the character of this nation. We give Donald Trump 4 more years. This will not be the country envisioned by Washington. This will not be the nation bound together by Lincoln. This will not be the nation lifted up by Roosevelt or inspired by Kennedy. It will not be the nation that Barack Obama proved bends toward justice. We can't and I will not let this man be reelected President of the United States of America.
A year ago today, Joe Biden launched this campaign for President of the United States. It was a spring day, full of faith that we will unite as a country and win the battle for our future and for the soul of the nation. We never thought it would be easy. As Vice President Biden said then, Donald Trump is a threat unlike we have ever seen. The lies, division, and fear all made clear that the character of our country is on the ballot. But now, in the throes of the worst national crisis in generations, it's clear what we have to lose. The crisis has reminded the nation why truth, honor, and steady leadership matters, and what a life and death difference it makes who's in the White House. Never before has an election been more important. Joe Biden has spent a lifetime serving others. Throughout this pandemic, Vice President Biden has stepped up with clear ideas and compassion and shown a light on the courage and goodness of the American people, who always come through in times of crisis. Through world wars and economic depression, 9/11 and hurricanes, our people have learned to do so much with so little, for so many, for so long. We beat the toughest odds because we've always held tight to the hope that we will rise again. And hope is the candle that shines brightest in the dark in times like now. The American people deserve a president who reflects and rallies that strength and heart. We know it's not the depth of the darkness that defines us. It's our response that will be remembered. So while I know we'll all be busy helping our communities, doing some of the toughest, most meaningful work of our lives, I hope you will take time to join us on this campaign. Joe Biden will lead us through a long and just recovery. He will heal what has been broken and restore the soul of our nation.
Everything is at stake in this next election. You know, as an African-American man, I've had a lot of sleepless nights. we're seeing things rise from the underbelly of America, and we are so much better than that. I support Joe Biden because I feel that Joe Biden has the vision to take America where America needs to go. He's concerned about people. He's not just the vice president, he's an American. And I think the biggest thing about being an American is being concerned about your neighbor. We need to feel together again, and we need to feel like one nation. It's in our hands, and we have to do all we can do to get Joe Biden elected.
As of this morning, former Vice President Joe Biden became the apparent nominee of the Democratic Party.
Joe Biden officially kicked off his 2020 presidential campaign in Philadelphia on Saturday.
And his campaign ad makes a powerful statement about you-know-who. Take a look.
Images of white supremacists marching in Charlottesville, framing his vision of what's at stake in this election.
This is not who we are. This is not who we are. And I absolutely refuse to accept the notion that that's who we have to be.
President Trump took note of Biden's announcement today. Mr. Trump tweeted, quote, "Welcome to the race, Sleepy Joe."
Our politics has become so mean, so petty, so negative, so partisan, so angry. And our president is the divider in chief. Oh, yeah! The single most important thing we have to accomplish is defeat Donald Trump.
After Charlottesville, I said that I believed that we're in a battle for the soul of America. I say it again today, we're in the battle for the soul of America.
We also have to rebuild the backbone of this country, the middle class, and this time bring everybody along. Because Wall Street did not build America. You build America. You build America. And unions built the middle class.
Everyone knows who Donald Trump is. We have to show people who we are. We choose unity over division. We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over lies. I'm not backing down. I'm not going to be distracted by his lies, his spears, his extortion, his name-calling. I'm going to stay focused on your lives. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart, from your lives.
Let's go, Joe! 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 Let's go, Joe!
Tonight, the first votes in the 2020 Democratic presidential primary.
Joe Biden's trying to bounce back after what he calls a gut punch from what appears to be a fourth-place finish in the Iowa caucuses.
ABC News projects that Senator Bernie Sanders will win the New Hampshire primary.
We just heard from the first 2 of 50 states. 2 of them. Now, where I come from, that's the opening bell.
Early voting is already underway in Nevada.
Coming in second with his best early state finish yet, Joe Biden hoping for a bit of momentum of his own in the next contest.
We know Joe, but most importantly, Joe knows us.
CNN projects that Joe Biden is the winner in South Carolina.
All of those who've been knocked down, counted out, left behind, this is your campaign.
And right on the heels of the South Carolina primary, Super Tuesday, 14 states will hold primaries.
We need a politics that's about decency, a politics that brings back dignity.
And in Joe Biden, we have someone who, in fact, is the antithesis of Donald Trump.
And that is why I am endorsing Joe Biden for president.
And it was certainly a Super Tuesday for Joe Biden, no question about that. He rode a fast-breaking wave to score a primary comeback beyond any that has come before.
I really believe we're creating a moment. And we're doing this by bringing together America's very race, ethnicity, gender, and economic station.
Biden has essentially sealed the nomination.
Let me start by saying the obvious. These aren't normal times. This crisis has reminded us that government matters.
And I know we share the understanding that we've got to go forward right now and out of this in an unprecedented way.
And we have seen the importance of having a leader that we can count on in a crisis. It's not Donald Trump, it is Joe Biden.
And that's why I'm so proud to endorse Joe Biden for President of the United States.
These days, I think a lot about the words written by the philosopher Kierkegaard. He said, "Faith sees best in the dark." And Lord knows these days are dark days in this nation and across the world. This virus is tough, but America's tougher. The American story is a story of ordinary people doing extraordinary things given half a chance. We're seeing this all around us. Courage, strength, selflessness, resilience. I know we'll get through this, and we'll be stronger for it. I promise you.
Let's go, Joe! 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 Let's go, Joe!
Hi, folks. My name is Catherine. I'm an organizing director on the campaign. Thank you so much for joining us on Soul of the Nation Saturday. We've seen actions big and small taken all across the country, and I want to thank you for taking action and joining us. I wanted to take a minute to share the many ways that you can get involved in the campaign and to support your community moving forward. Right now, we're focused on connecting to all of our supporters, checking in with them and seeing how they're doing, and also making sure that they're able to get plugged into the campaign if they're willing and able. So we're asking folks to do a few things. First, host a virtual event with friends, neighbors, and family to see how they can get involved in the campaign. If it is your first time hosting an event or hosting a virtual event, we're here to help facilitate and train. We have amazing organizers all across the country that are ready to assist. Second of all, we are also making calls to known supporters to check in on them and to make sure they know what's going on in the campaign and how they can get involved. We have a lot of folks to talk to, so we definitely could use your support. You can go to joebiden.com/organize now to take one of these actions and see many of the other actions you can help take with the campaign. Lastly, I wanted to plug that on Sunday, tomorrow, we'll be hosting our very first digital summit where we'll be talking about online community engagement and how we can spread Joe's message through online organizing. To learn more and RSVP, you can go to joebiden.com/summit. So thank you for joining us tonight and enjoy the rest of the program.
America's best is coming out as America faces its worst.
Ma ha saputo camminare al buio.
Think of the people around the world who open their windows, who stand on their balconies and salute and cheer and clap.
The Lincoln family is jumping into action to do a random act of kindness for Lincoln's elderly.
Several grateful people have come to get free hand sanitizer and toilet paper.
Musicians have set up washing stations to protect the homeless.
Melbourne's Sikh community rallying to prepare meals for delivery to anyone most in need.
People cannot go to the gym, but it doesn't mean they can't get a workout.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Billy Porter. I stand before you today as a post-civil rights movement baby. I stand before you today as the shining product of a government that cared about its people. And while the American democracy experiment is far from perfect, there was a time when we were on track to holding our truths that are now and have always been self-evident, that all men are created equal. Now, let me just frame these words for our millennial context. That means all human beings are created equal. even the ones we may not personally understand. I am an artist. This is how I communicate. And as I look at the deterioration and dismantling of all the work we've done to achieve this idea so simply laid out in our Constitution, I'm reminded of the music from my childhood. As a young man, I was always drawn to the protest music that came out of the American unrest of the 60s and 70s that spoke truth to power then and still resonates today. And as I look out on the landscape of the American people, I'm reminded of the wise words of abolitionist Frederick Douglass when he told us that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. I chose this song because I wanted to remind the world through this classic tune originally written by Stephen Stills and performed by the amazing band Buffalo Springfield all the way back in 1967, that it's time for we the people to be vigilantes and rise up. We have the power, and it starts with our vote. It is time, once again, to demand change, and this time, change for good. I'm so honored to be premiering this video for what it's worth here on this platform as part of this great event. Here it is. I hope you all enjoy and are inspired to get out and make a difference. Thank you.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds, getting so much resistance from behind. We gotta stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the street, singing songs and carrying signs. Mostly say, hooray for our side. It's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Down, 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 down. Paranoia strikes deep into your life. It will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. You step out of line, the man come and take you away. We better stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop. Hey, look around. Everybody knows what's going down. Stop. Hey, look around. Everybody knows what's going down. Down, 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 down. We need a change, y'all. Change for good.
Good evening. I'm Malin Mitchell, a proud firefighter here in the city of Madison, Wisconsin for 24 plus years. I'm also proud to be part of a family of service. My older brother's a firefighter in Atlanta, Georgia, and my younger brother's a firefighter in St. Paul, Minnesota. You know, as firefighters and first responders, we respond to our community a lot of times on the worst days of their lives. And when people are at their worst, we have to be at our best. Today, firefighters all across this great country are going to work on the front lines when most people are encouraged to stay at home. In the fire service, we have a mantra. It's called All Hands Working, which simply means that everyone on location, every firefighter or first responder on scene is doing something to make their community better. They're working on that scene to make it right for our community. This is an unprecedented crisis that we're currently living in, and we need to be there for each other. We need all hands working. And we also deserve a president who stands with us, who understands the pain and fear that we are all experiencing, who fights for us and our families. That's simple for me. That's Joe Biden. And I stand with Joe Biden because he has always stood with us as firefighters and first responders. That's why I'm proud to not only introduce our next president of the United States, Joe Biden, but also the next First Lady of the United States, a community college professor, a Blue Star mom, a grandma, our friend, Dr. Jill Biden.
A year ago today, I was on my way to work at Northern Virginia Community College, thinking about my lesson. I put the car into park and started out for my classroom when an idea struck me and stopped me in my tracks. Wait, my husband just announced that he was running for President of the United States. Then I did the only thing I could do in such a surreal moment. I went to work. Since that day, I have traveled to hundreds of cities and towns. I've met farmers in the most rural parts of Iowa, young tech entrepreneurs, women saving lives at domestic violence shelters, pastors leading their flocks through uncertain times, and many, many of my fellow educators across the country. I've heard stories of heartbreak and heroism. I've seen how ready we are for change, for Joe's strong leadership, but most of all, from the Everglades of Florida to the churches of South Carolina, from the wetlands of New Hampshire to the shores of California, I've seen the heart of this nation. And though it's been tested and tried by division, it still beats with generosity, kindness, and courage. That's the nation we're fighting for. So thank you, America, for an amazing year. Thank you for welcoming me into your community centers and churches and classrooms. Thank you for trusting us with your stories. South Carolina gave us wings. Super Tuesday lifted us up, but you make us fly. And together, we're just getting started. This moment reminds us that the presidency is about true leadership, having the forethought to prepare for the worst, the backbone to lead through chaos, the character to move beyond politics and serve every American, no matter where they live or what they believe. Only one candidate in this election has all three. My husband, our next President of the United States, Joe Biden. Joe?
Thank you, babe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for turning to look at us and tuning in this evening for our Soul of the Nation Saturday. I hope you and all your families are safe and healthy tonight, but I know that so many Americans are not, and my prayers are with those who are sick and suffering and struggling just to get by because of this pandemic. You know, 1 year ago, Jill and I launched this campaign with a simple message. We were in the battle for the soul of this nation. Donald Trump is a threat to our most cherished American values, our most basic democratic beliefs. and to the very character of this country. If we give him 4 more years in the White House, he will forever and fundamentally alter the fabric of this nation. And while the world today is different in many ways, the truth hasn't changed. In fact, this crisis has shown it to be more true and shown us that this fight is more important than ever. You know, rather than leading this country with urgency and taking responsibility for our response to COVID-19, we're seeing more of the same from Donald Trump. Deflections, distractions, delays, and a dangerous refusal to listen to the scientists and heed the advice of the experts. And in the next week, in which the confirmed death toll for Americans has surpassed, and it'll be larger than this, but last week it surpassed 50,000. 50,000. More than 26 million Americans have filed for unemployment since the crisis started. And we've yet to hear the president say anything resembling a true expression of empathy for the pain, the suffering that so many of you across this nation are experiencing. Every single one of those lives is an American story cut short. They deserve to be remembered. They deserve to be honored. And their families deserve our support. You know, I believe it's the job of the president to provide leadership and reassurance when the nation is hurting. But during this crisis, we've also seen something else. We've seen that soul of America that I've been talking about begin to shine through. We've seen doctors and nurses, EMTs, other healthcare providers selflessly put themselves on the line to fight this virus and protect our communities. We've seen our grocery store workers and our delivery drivers and our public transit workers, too often our lowest paid workers, proudly carry this country on their backs as we adjust to the requirements of social distancing. We've seen Americans step up for one another in many meaningful ways, picking up groceries for their vulnerable neighbors, reaching out with video calls to check on a friend who might be having a hard time. All across the country, we've seen the outpouring of gratitude for our care providers as communities come together to clap and celebrate their work. You know, that's who we are. That's who we are as Americans. We're big-hearted, we're selfless, ready to rise to any challenge, capable of overcoming any threat. There's no quit in America. We're ready to prove to anyone who dares doubt it. We're still the nation envisioned by Washington. We're still the nation bound together by Lincoln. We're still the nation lifted up by Roosevelt. And we're still the nation inspired by Kennedy. And we're still the nation Barack Obama proved bent towards justice. We are one America. And if we can come together in this crisis, I know we can unite and do so much more. Because after this, we're going to have a great deal of very hard work to do, harder than ever. Not just to rebuild our country, but to transform it, to make the investments we've needed to make for so long in our workers, to create a more just and inclusive economy where everyone has an opportunity to build a better life for their families, to make sure everyone in this country earns a living wage and is treated with dignity and respect. That's why we wanted to celebrate our 1-year anniversary by turning our campaign to a day of community service, a day to show our appreciation for our heroes, to show the country what this movement is all about. Maybe you hung out a sign in your window thanking our healthcare workers. Maybe you reached out to a neighbor you might otherwise have not spoken to, but thank them and tell them that, see if they need just a call. Find out what they're doing and how they're doing it. Maybe you wrote a letter or posted a video on social media to thank our frontline workers who are keeping us safe. Today's about showing the heart and soul of this country and the values that are powering us every day. Unity, compassion, empathy, and respect for the dignity of every single person. You know, this has been an unbelievable year in so many ways. We've faced adversity, we've overcome challenges, we've enjoyed hard-earned, gratifying moments, and we've come together, united and strong. I want to thank all of you who've been with me from the very beginning, who believed in this campaign, and so many of you put your sweat and tears into getting us through the hardest parts, the longest days. And it's made all the difference. But I also want to thank Send a thanks to all of you who may have supported a different candidate in the primary. Wanted to thank you for your passion, for joining our energies with us, creating more energy in our campaign. We not only welcome you, we need you. And I'm so honored, so genuinely moved by the faith that you have placed in me. Because even though we're separated from one another physically, and enduring difficult times, we're growing stronger every single day. We've always known at the end of the primaries, this would be one team, one fight. And looking at our incredible team and all the incredible talent we've got working together, I know we can and will defeat Donald Trump and reclaim the soul of America for a long time. So thank you all for taking your part, fulfilling a part, being part of the Soul of the Nation Saturday. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and thank all the folks you heard from earlier in the beginning of this event. I hope it's helped all of us hold on to the knowledge that even though we're far apart, we're all in this together, and you are not alone. You are part of something bigger than any one of us. You belong to a community and a country that cannot be broken. Not by this pandemic, not by anything, not as long as we stand united. Americans are tough, we're resilient, we're resourceful. So we may very well now be down, but we're not out. We're gonna get through this. And we can come out the other side stronger than before, because there's nothing that we cannot accomplish if we work together. And come this November, we're gonna prove it. So thank you all for being part of this movement, and God bless you. My heart goes out to all of you who've suffered a loss. God bless you all. Thank you.
Who are we? We are the ones who step up for each other. I've got your back. You've got mine. Kindness, humility, empathy. It's not just talk. It's who we are. It's who we always have been. And no one can take that from us. The movement to bring it back, it started here. And here. And here. In school gymnasiums, community centers, the living room down the block. You'll be where? Okay, we'll be there. Who are we? We're the movement that will beat Donald Trump. Welcome. We're going to have to sweat for it. We're going to have to sacrifice and fight. We're going to have to lead. Everyone is going to have to lead with kindness, humility, empathy, and not just talk, but action. Action today, action tomorrow. Action until we win. And we will win if we do this together. It's who we are. It's who we always have been. Now let's show them.